Hi, and welcome to Epiphanies. I'm Reverend Jessie Brandon, and I'm a life cycle celebrant and an ordained minister. I have the opportunity to bring my two loves together, books and people. And so today I am going to be speaking with Dr. Darlene Hintzen, and we're going to be talking about many lives, many masters. So I invite you to grab a cup of tea and settle in, and let's see where we go. So this book, as I said, Many Lives, Many Masters, is the true story of a prominent psychiatrist, Dr. Brian Weiss, and his young patient, and the past life therapy that changed both their lives. So the one thing that I wanted you to know about the book is it is all about past life regression, and this is what he says. I know that there is a reason for everything. Perhaps at the moment that an event occurs, we have neither the insight nor the foresight to comprehend the reason, but with time and patience, it will come to light. So it was with Catherine. I first met her in 1980 when she was 27 years old, and she'd come to my office seeking help for her anxiety, panic attacks, and phobias. Although these symptoms had been with her since childhood, in the recent past, they had become worse. And every day she found herself more emotionally paralyzed and less able to function. She was terrified and understandably depressed. Dr. Weiss goes on to say, years of disciplined study had trained my mind to think as a scientist and physician, molding me along the narrow paths of conservatism in my profession. I distrusted anything that could not be proved by traditional scientific methods. I was aware of some of the studies in parapsychology that were being conducted at major universities across the country, but they didn't hold my attention. It all seemed too far-fetched. And then I met Catherine. And at this point, we're going to speak to Dr. Darlene Hintzen. Hi, Darlene, come on in.
Hi, Jessie. Thank you so much for having me today.
Yeah, it's good to see you. Thank you for coming.
Wonderful.
Please have a seat.
Thank you.
And I'd like you to make yourself a cup of tea while I tell everybody who you are.
Sure. Thank you very much.
So Dr. Darlene Hintzen is the owner of a spiritual metaphysical center in Barrie called Positive Pathways. And in addition to being a full-time elementary school teacher, she is an ordained minister under spirituality, a Reiki Master teacher, a master hypnotherapist who specializes in past life regressions, as well as a yoga instructor for the City of Barrie. Oh my goodness, that is a busy life.
Thank you.
Yeah, so tell me about this book. Why did you choose this particular book?
Well, I've always been interested in past life regression, and I've read many books by Sylvia Browne, Dolores Cannon, but this one spoke to me because he was a psychiatrist. So it gave more validity to the practice of past life regression. And because he's a psychiatrist, he was just trying to regress her back in her current life. But announced to him, she kept going back to other lifetimes. And he cured her of so many ailments that she had in this life that stemmed from a past life. So it kind of took me on another direction. So I thought, well, why can't I be a hypnotherapist? So I started studying hypnotherapy and became a master hypnotherapist with my goal to become a past life regression therapist. And I've since then I've taken about thousands of people back to past lives, and many have been healed from things that have stemmed from a past life that they've brought forward into their current life.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So where did, you mentioned it to me another time about an instructor, your instructor for the past life regression.
Yes, actually, yeah.
Tell me about that person.
Dr. Georgina Cannon owns the Toronto Hypnosis Board in Toronto. And I did my training with her, and then I was curious to know where she got her doctorate degree. And I found out that she got it from the University of Metaphysics. So I researched them, and then I became a doctor of metaphysics through them. I did my research papers, and I included a lot of his studies in my research paper as well. And that led me to become an ordained minister under spirituality. Some of my classes that I was taking through the university taught me about yoga, which led me to become a yoga instructor. So I took a 2-year training course at Georgian College.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just snowballed. So I
Yeah.
do weddings on my weekends and teach yoga in the evenings and do past life regression on my free time. Yeah, so everything I love to do.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. So tell me, how did this, I guess that pretty much, I was going to say, how did this book change you? But that pretty much is how it changed you.
Just everything snowballed, you know.
Yeah.
One thing led to another. And once you get on this path, there's no going back, right?
Right,
You know?
that's for sure. You can't unlearn what you've
No,
learned.
exactly. So I started a not-for-profit organization in Barrie. I had, first I had a commercial unit on Bell Farm Road, and opened it up to people. I was doing my yoga classes there, and I started drumming circles and all kinds of spiritual things, and it brought many people together in the community, and I feel very blessed to have like a community of spiritual like-minded people. Yeah, we were doing meditations. Then I started teaching Reiki, because Reiki was also one of the teachings, and I found that to be fabulous, because it's another way that you can heal, you know, with the hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me about this not-for-profit. Does that have anything to do with, I know you lead groups to Peru, so
Yes.
is that what that is about?
That's part of the not-for-profit, yeah. So I have a piece of land that I purchased in Peru, and my dream is to build a spiritual center there. So in the meantime, I collect things and I bring them to Peru, so either donations or toiletries and stuff like that, and I bring packages and stuff. I have about 5 families that I work with, like specifically, and I bring a lot of gifts for them.
Yeah.
So until the spiritual center is built.
Now, one time I know that we were collecting the Canadian Tire money for that, and what were you using that for?
I bought soccer balls.
Oh, yeah.
There was a school that I was working with there, so I brought in a bunch of gift care packages for all the children there, and then I gave the teachers soccer balls and skipping ropes and stuff for the children, because they're in very rural communities. And that was the whole idea of building the school.
Right.
So I'd like to teach English or do something, or even spiritual things, like in the Sacred Valley. It's in the Sacred Valley. Even my first trip to Peru, I was fortunate enough to partake in the medicine plants. So I did the ayahuasca. We did 3 ceremonies of ayahuasca and the San Pedro. And I find that just opened up everything that was... It opened up everything to my past lives, so I knew that I had many different past lives there. So that's why I keep on returning. It's almost like I feel a kinship to the people there, and my past lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like going home.
Yeah. So getting back to this book, have you recommended this to very many people?
Oh yeah, many people, because I find a lot of people will question past life regression. You know, they're not sure of its validity. So I would bring them to him because he is a doctor, a psychiatrist, and he had a really hard time struggling with whether to open this up to his colleagues, because he thought he would be ridiculed. And but he couldn't negate all the facts. Like at one point in the book, Catherine went into the spirit realm and gave him messages from a child that he had that had died. And there's no way she could have known this. She was a client of his. There's no way that she could have been privy to this information.
Right.
So that like turned him around completely. You know, like how would she even know that he had a child that passed, and then to get messages from his child and his father in spirit as well.
Wow.
So this was a real eye-opener for me as well. So I thought, wow, there's so much, you know, content in this book that made it good to recommend to other people that were a bit iffy about past life regression.
So if there was anything that you would want people to know, particularly about this book, what message would you give to the community?
About this book?
About this book, or about what you learned from it?
Well, just that whether you're interested in a past life regression just for entertainment purposes, or to actually heal from something. I've seen transition from so many people that have taken a past life regression journey. You can heal so many things. Like sometimes you feel you're stuck in therapy because you just keep rehatching everything and going over it and going over it. But through a past life regression, if you brought it forward from a past life, they say that the issues are in the tissues. So a lot of our stuff that comes forward is from a past life. So through a past life regression, if you just go back and visit, like we make, before we start the past life regression, I ask the client, is there anything, a fear or a phobia that you wish to see where it came from? Because a lot of times we hold on to things from the past life, and it's called cell memory. So say for 30 years you're crossing this particular bridge, and then you hit 30, you've never had any issues before, but you all of a sudden get anxiety every time you cross this bridge. So it could be that at that particular age that it was triggered in your DNA, you were, like, say, thrown off a bridge, in another past life.
Wow.
So by going back there and revisiting this, you're able to release it because you know the source of it.
Yeah.
So I've cured a lot of people of fears or phobias. One lady had chronic pain, and when we went back to a past life, it was she was Native in a past life, and she had taken an arrow to her spine at the exact same spot. Doctors could not figure out where this chronic pain came from, but in the past life she was able to see where it came from.
Wow,
and
that's amazing.
Why it exists. And even people have scars, like scars in their current life that are from a past life.
Huh.
You know, so if you're not sure of it, you can actually ask Spirit to take you there, because it's a very spiritual journey. We light a candle, we say a prayer, you know, we do the induction, which brings you to such a relaxed state of mind that you're able to tap into the subconscious mind, and that's where all the memories are stored. And then you never know, like you can do up to 100 different past lives.
Wow.
So now I also do group past lives where I'll do like 12 people all at the same time.
Really?
You know, and it's interesting. One time I did it and everybody in the group was First Nations, you know, so I wondered if they were from the same area or something, or why did they all come together on this particular night and do the past life regression. So.
That's incredible.
And we've been black, white, rich, poor, sinner, saint. So as soon as people are aware of that, because some people are in shock when they first see themselves as a man. And
Yeah.
one lady saying, I looked at my feet and they were like these big ogres. Thought I was like Shrek. You know, it's like, no. It's like we've been everything, right? So yeah, it's never surprising now. I've done so many of them, so I'm always in awe.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
blessed. I feel so blessed to be able to visit that, to journey with them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely amazing, because if people understood that we have been all things, all
Yes.
colors, all
Yeah.
shapes and sizes,
Yeah.
that really whatever, you know, I don't want to get political here, but whatever issues that they have with, say, people of a you know, different race,
Yes.
you know,
We've been
I want-
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, they've
it's
already
the
been-
evolution of the soul, right? So
exactly.
we have to experience everything in life, right?
Yeah.
So don't be surprised who you were, you know?
Yeah.
I've had only one person that could not forgive herself because she had actually regressed back to what I believe was the time of Atlantis, because she was talking about she was witnessing battles between half human, half animal things. And I had just read a book prior to doing her past life about Atlantis.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what made me believe it was that time period, because
Yeah.
they were such an evolved culture that they actually mixed the DNA of animals and humans together and created these what we call mystical or mythical characters, right?
Yeah.
You know, half horse, half man kind of thing.
I have to stop you right
Yes.
there. We're going to take a break. And so we're going to, as I say, take a quick break. Stay with me, and we'll welcome you back in just a couple of minutes. Thank you. Welcome back to Epiphanies. I'm Reverend Jessie Brandon, and my guest today is Dr. Darlene Hintzen, and we're talking about many lives, many masters. We're also talking about Darlene's work in the community. As we've already discussed, she's an elementary teacher and has Positive Pathways, a not-for-profit metaphysical spiritual center here in Barrie. And the one thing I wanted you to know is that if you email me with any questions about the book, about Dr. Hintzen, about the programs that she offers, or anything that we've talked about today, I'll be sure and talk to you about them in future shows. So tell me, Darlene, what types of things do you do in the community? I know you do yoga and you do the past life regression, and I know I've been to, for instance, Brenna McIntyre, the native singer. So tell me about those kind of things that you do in the community.
Yeah, well, through my not-for-profit organization, I'm able to get space at the library, so I do a lot of community functions there. I have Dada. He's a monk that comes every year, and he's actually coming at the end of September to do a healing circle. Actually, October 1st is the date that he has planned for that.
Wonderful.
So he's going to be teaching everybody how to do a healing circle, and so that they can conduct them themselves as well, through singing, through meditation, chanting, all kinds of different tantric stuff that he does.
Right.
And I always offer this by donation only, so that the donations raised will go directly to the person that's offering whatever they're offering to the community. I just feel that's a way of giving back and helping, because a lot of people don't have the funds to participate in a lot of different workshops and events that take place, and I want to make it affordable to people. So it's a donation is simply donation, whatever you can afford or whatever you care to give.
Yeah.
Because it has to be reciprocal, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you also mentioned another time that you do give gift certificates. Is there any particular charity in town that you focus on, or just
if anybody approaches me and wants asks for a donation of some sort, I usually give like a free past life regression or something for auctions or anything that they're doing for a community to fundraise. The Women and Children's Shelter, I've helped them out a few times and in the past. I would be more than willing to go do yoga. I work with a Season Center for grieving children, so I've been doing that. I was a volunteer for like 5 years. And now I just go in the summer and do their day camp. So I do yoga with the children, and I teach them drumming, and we just have a fun day. And so just donate my time wherever it's needed. Like if anyone asks, if I can, I'm always there to help.
Yeah.
Because that's what we do, right?
Yeah, that is what we do. It is the gift of spirituality, is to just share everything that we have so that we all are brought forward.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
Absolutely. So I'm going to ask you some for fun questions here. If you could travel anywhere, where would you go and why?
Interesting, because I've never really thought about going to Ireland, but that's supposed to be my roots, and I've been talking to different people about different traditions, like Wicca traditions. And because I'm so interested in the First Nations tradition, a friend of mine said, well, it's interesting, the reason why you're so drawn to that is because your heritage is Irish, and that is very in alignment with the Wicca. And I thought, I never even thought about that before. So, and I had a reading done by John Pathias, and he told me that I was going to be visiting my roots. I was going to Ireland, and he just said this last month, and then to talk to her on the weekend and hear this, I'm like, okay. So maybe that is a place that I'm thinking about visiting.
Oh, that's really neat. Well, I don't know if you knew, but I'm Irish too, and I'm dying to go. My grandfather was born in the Brandon Hills, which is in Dingle Bay, which is about, it's on the western side. Just about middle to south, so yeah.
Maybe we had a past life there.
You never know. Never know. We'll have to do some regression work. And who do you most admire in life?
Actually, Deepak Chopra is one of my favorite admirers. So when I teach my yoga, I always focus on the 7 spiritual laws of yoga, because I find there's a lot of different types of yoga out there now that take away from the traditions of meditation. They don't incorporate the spiritual laws, and so I always admire him. So I always take time to teach his lessons through my classes, whether people like it or not. You know, I'm giving them a lesson. Being a teacher, maybe that's my background. So I find his work is wonderful. And I did Seduction of the Spirit with him in Sedona about 8 years ago. And it just blew me away. It's such a beautiful place. So now I actually take people to on retreats to Sedona during my March break, and people to Peru in the summer during my summer break. So, and it's just a spiritual journey. So anybody who wants to join me, it's just a great time to go. We meditate, we do yoga, and visit the spiritual sites. So in Sedona, there's 4 major vortexes that we visit, plus the Grand Canyon. So it's just awesome to share spiritual teachings with people. And
so you find out about the history as well of the spiritual.
Oh yeah. Like there's
aspects.
like one of them is a male energy vortex. The other is a female energy vortex. So I do specific meditations based on those vortexes, plus the yoga. And then in the Boynton Canyon, it's the balancing one. So we do a chakra meditation to balance all our chakras, and do yoga right in the Sacred Valley in Sedona.
Yeah.
And and the Grand Canyon's amazing. It's a lot of spiritual stuff. And then I just was on Gaia TV and learned about another place in Sedona that has the genie, apparently. So I want to go visit the genie. And he grants all your wishes. So I'm looking for that for our free day. You never stop learning, eh?
No, that's for sure.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
If you could witness any event in the past or even the present, which one would you like to be present at? Where would you, like, do you know what I mean? Like if you could be, say when John F. Kennedy was elected or something like that. Is there anything in particular that you wish you'd been there to see?
You know, a lot of artists come to mind. Like I would have loved to have met different artists like Michael Jackson or John Lennon, people like that, because they have such a powerful message. I feel, one of my favorite songs is The Man in the Mirror, you know, starting with The Man in the Mirror. I remember listening to it in Peru, watching these children on a rusty old monkey bar, and it just brought tears to my eyes, you know. So I think I would have loved to have met Michael Jackson, you know, someone powerful like that. Or even Oprah, you know, maybe in the future, you know. Yeah. So, because she does a lot of stuff for society, you know. I feel there's a lot of people with great messages out there that are helping, you know. Yeah. And it begins with us, you know. So the man in the mirror.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. That is so true. So what gets you excited in the morning when you wake up? What is your sort of, do you have any particular way of greeting the day and preparing for what you're doing?
Just meditation. Yeah, I find if I take that 20 minutes every morning just to regroup and get things settled. I have an altar that has a lot of my spiritual stones and stuff like that. Just taking that 20 minutes and being thankful, you know, that starting the day with an attitude of gratitude, right? You know, it really springs forth, you know. If I just take that 20 minutes of calm in the morning, I'm not wired up for the rest of the day, you know. Yeah, I find that helps.
Yeah. So let me see. Tell me what love feels like to you.
It's just a heart opening. I think if you have that chakra wide open, you just feel it, and it's so reciprocal, because the more you give, the more you receive, right? So love is everything, and love is all there is, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
So just being in that energy vortex of love, I think it's the most important. It's the highest frequency, right? Yeah. So I try to just vibrate with people that are of that frequency, you know? Not that I don't gel with other people, but you know, I think that love conquers all. It's the highest frequency, right? So just bring them to your vibration. Don't lower yourself down to theirs.
Absolutely,
So I find that's an important message.
It really is.
In metaphysics, right?
In metaphysics, right. So can you expand on that a little bit when you say bring them to your vibration? Can you describe?
Even just smiling at people. People don't know how to say hello, and people sometimes are in shock if you say hi to them if you don't know them. It's like, if you make eye contact, why not say hello, you know? Like, there's a reason, you know?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
You just always be loving and kind, I think. You know, you have to be your genuine, true, authentic self, right? And I feel that you should always be able to be yourself in any party. Like, anywhere you go, you should be who you are. Some people change, you know, to fit the circumstances and that, but I think if you be your true, authentic self, no one can fault you on that, right? You know?
That's right.
Like the 4 agreements, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we have that coming up in one of my shows down the road.
It's a great book too.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, I'm really excited just to, you know, talk about that for a second. With upcoming guests, the books that they've chosen, I'm just like, can't wait.
It's so hard to pick just the right one, but I find this one changed my life because it was just a domino effect. Like everything, you know, it led to what I do now.
Yeah, and I understand that if I was to interview myself, I would talk about Conversations with God by Neale Donald Walsh, because that one changed my life. Having come from a really strict religious background, when I left home, I didn't want anything to do with it. And so it was, you know, 20 years later, I read that book, and it just completely changed my view of who the concept of God was, and it
Right.
didn't matter what name that you called the
Yes.
divine energy, the divine creator, the
There's
universe.
only one God, and that's what I like to say. He's a God of love and understanding. He's not judgment, right? Whereas
Right.
a lot of people, I find with the difference between religion and spirituality is with religion there's so many rules and regulations. You know, Jesus taught under a tree. He didn't need bricks and mortar. He didn't need money, you know, like
Yeah,
there's
didn't
so
need a big
many-
fancy hall and
Yeah.
all the
Jesus,
accoutrements.
Buddha, Muhammad, they're all wonderful teachers, you know. So
Mhm.
and they all have the same message, love at the core of it.
Yeah.
I even read a book about saying that Jesus was the reincarnation of Buddha, and everything, I think it was Jack Kornfield that did it, and every saying that Buddha said, Jesus said, but just in a different way, but they were the same meaning, the same context, you know,
Mhm,
and they
mhm.
lived at different time periods. So
Yeah, and it's true
interesting.
because when I was training to become a therapist, what one of my instructors said to me is, you have to learn to speak in 17 different languages because they don't know your language. You have to learn theirs when you're dealing with your
Right.
clients,
Yes.
and I think that stretches to what you've just said. It is the same message is always there.
And
Love one
is
another.
the core, yeah.
Love is the core,
yeah,
absolutely.
the root of all, everything. Yeah.
Okay, well, we're down to our last moment, and as I said to you before, please email me if you have any questions about anything that we've discussed today. And so, Darlene, what do you want your legacy to be?
My legacy.
Yeah, what message do you want to leave in the world? What do you
Yeah,
want to be
just-
remembered for?
Just love. Love everybody, love each other, you know, because at the root of everything is love, you know. Yeah.
So you want people to know that you were a message of love and a
Yeah,
messenger.
we're supposed to be that beacon of light, right? So, and just remain that light. Even in the darkness, right? The light will shine, right?
Yeah.
So let your light shine.
Yeah.
I always remember this little light of mine. I'm going to let it shine.
Yeah.
And that stuck with me as a kid, you know, and it's like, you know, always believe that spirit is always with you. And the angels are always with you. And people always forget that you have to call on them. They can't intervene unless you ask them.
Yeah.
So, you know, call on the angels, you know, because
Yeah.
they're there.
Well, thank
know?
you so much,
No, thank
Dr.
you.
Darlene
Thank you,
Hintzen.
Jessie.
I really
Yes, thank
appreciate that you were here.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Yeah.
Blessings.
Appreciate all your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's Epiphanies. Thank you.